Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of Banter Blitz with me, Jan Gustafsson, defending my new impressive 3001 rating, which I have a feeling I'm gonna not be able to sustain for very long, because let's face it, I'm old and slow. But I'm trying to look younger again since hibernation is over, so I did go get a haircut, which normally cuts off maybe 5 years. So I might look 42 now. Enough vanity. Nah, of course not enough. But let's get started. Whom do I play? Root Bear maybe. Sounds like Root Beer, but I don't think that's him. I've reshuffled the designs. It's still gonna look messy, but let's see how that works. Wow, 3-minute game. That's fast. Let me know how you like it. I'm not sure I like it. I've tried to create an even bigger board so that you guys are less bored. The Scotch. Root Bear looks like he's booked up. So am I, of course, but I always struggle remembering all these complications here after random queen moves. Bishop a3, however, I don't need much time to remember. I'll just take the f4 pawn and win. That's very kind of you, Mr. Root Bear. Looks like I took a couple pawns. And I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I quite like grabbing pawns. Let's get this over with. Ain't over yet. He can still castle queenside and stick around. But I do have more pawns than him. This bishop on a6 is a little awkward. But I have a feeling that it's gonna complete an unexpected journey and show up somewhere. So far, so good. Still have my pawns. Rook Bear has done well to hang around, but in the midterm, long run, some run, my pawns should mean something. I guess he wants to go g5, f5, knight f6 check. Well, I'll take it, and then king e6 when... Once again, this bishop isn't doing anything yet, but one day it's gonna make a big, big comeback. Maybe it's time to push some of these pawns. Can't wait forever for this bishop to wake up. Sorry, dude. We're moving on without you. But still some hope to get over here. What does he want? Rook g7? Let's stop it. Prophylactic thinking. That's what Artur Yusupov told me. Just don't allow them to do stuff. Maybe I shouldn't have allowed him to give this check. What to do? But as I mentioned, my bishop is now up and running. The opposite colored bishops shouldn't matter too much because there's still rooks on the board. So this should still be a reasonably comfortable win, even though I'm the first one to admit, or maybe the second one if someone's already pointed it out in the chat, that my technique might not have been flawless. Still winning though. Let's run. It's important if you have a light square bishop to sort of advance your pawns on darkish squares, if possible. Not sure why, but it sounds smart. How do I win though? I want a bishop d3. Yeah, why not? The problem is, even though he can take some of my pawns, and I'm not really threatening all that much yet, it takes him a lot of time, and I will use that time to either checkmate him or queen Freddy the f-pawn. Or both. Maybe checkmate him with Freddy the f-pawn. Darkish square is a dark square, but they're more green than dark on this board. So let's go with darkish. Blackish? I don't know. Rook c8ish. King f5ish. Yeah, I'm getting annoyed at ending every word with ish myself. b4. Root Bear fighting desperately. But it shall not help. Still, I have a feeling I should stop messing around and end this game at some point. Maybe now. Enough is enough, Root Bear. It's been fun while it lasted. But we don't have all day. We're all busy people. There's Freddy. Intermission. And Root Bear resigns. Oh, 1-1. I equalized the score against him. Yay me. What's up in the chat? How are you guys doing? Whom do I play? Same old question. See some non-premium challenges. I can't accept those. I'm so sorry. But I can accept Mr. Chestory. Chestory? Ah yes, like 3 S's in there. Wondering what chess stories he wants to share with us. Let's create a new one by crushing him mercilessly. Even though I went c4, which is like a mediocre move, because you allow e5 and c5. But such is life. g6 is a move order. Sometimes these sneaky Grunfeld players play g6, and if you go d4, they go knight f6, and we're back to Grunfeld. So people have started going c4, g6, e4. There is some method to this madness. And now he can go knight f6, and we're back to normal King's Indian. Or you can go knight c6, and it's some weird modern system. King's Indian, let's play the 4 pawns as I used to when I was a young man, and my story is seldom told. It's not a particularly good line because all this stuff with castles, knight f3, c5 is alright for black. But it's not ridiculous either. So I like to play it, like every 100th game, as a surprise weapon. Knight c6 I've never seen, but how good can it be? Bishop e2, he could take an e5, which is not too scary, but it's still rather make it a little more difficult, even though he should still go e5 here. Now I have a feeling it's time to grab even more space, since he didn't go e5. Why not expand a little further? And yeah, everyone can change the board colors. I was getting a little bored with the ones I'm usually having, so I went with this one. I'm not sure I like it. I'll try some other ones. But yeah, click on whatever it is. This burger menu and then settings, I believe. Chess story is playing alright so far. Knight b8, c6. I guess I should be a little better with my 2 bishops and extra space, but he hasn't done anything stupid. So there is still a lot to play for. It's not a lot to play for, but there's a lot of play left, let's put it that way. Knight c5 I'm not sure, even though I don't like giving up bishops, but especially now that he's played a5, this looks like a transformation too good to pass up. Could throw in some jokes here, but I'm not going to. I read some Avengers talk, and I did say burger menu, that's what it's called. What's the Avengers talk? I had some Avengers, or Avengers, I believe you should pronounce it, opinions. Captain America, the new Captain America movie, yeah, I thought it was overrated. I think I've talked about this before. It's a good Marvel movie, but people are making it sound now like whenever there's a good Marvel movie, like this is the greatest movie ever made. On Rotten Tomatoes it has like 93%. And it's not a masterful plot or anything. It's a Marvel movie with a bunch of new characters and some good jokes in there. But the hype is getting a bit to me. And I'm a nerd, I've watched all of these movies. But I'm going in there with expectations that are too high. And then you're sitting there and thinking, plot doesn't really make any sense. And yeah, the writing is less terrible than Batman vs. Superman and so on. But let's not pretend like this is Citizen Kane. It's another Avengers movie called Captain America with a lot of characters and some funny lines, but I don't know. It's getting too much. This game is not getting too much And I have a feeling it's time to expand further. d6. The point is if he takes, knight takes, and f7. And b6 will be en prise, as we say, in Germany. Therefore, he can't really protect everything. He has to take, give the exchange. But now this knight is still a very, very lone soldier. Not a winter soldier, just a lone soldier on b6. Is to go to a8. And if you have to go knight a8, the game ain't gonna last till late. Yeah, that's brilliant rhyming. Checkmate. Next move. So yeah, where did it all go wrong for chess story? I believe the main culprit was knight c5. I didn't like knight c5. You could argue about a5 too, but here knight c5 is just very bad, because after takes and e5 his position is extremely cheerless. And I don't know, maybe rook c8 or some movement, or knight e8, and the game continues, even though I gotta admit I didn't like a5 that much either. What to do? Find someone new. Very rhymy today. Oh, this guy's very low rated. That has to be rewarded by taking another point from him. Yakov Schneider from Germany. And by low rated, I mean compared to my gigantic 3000 rating, I am 3 times higher rated than him. So that fills me with a lot of joy. Goes knight c6, which is actually not a ridiculous move. After c4, bishop g4, we're back in Chigorin territory. You could make a case for moves like g3, bishop f4, bishop g5 and whatnot. But in general, I believe in fighting for the center, and c4 fits that bill. Tegas Yoshi is not happy with the design, but he's not a premium member. So I value your opinion slightly less, but still thanks a lot for the input. Yeah, I'm not sure myself. It's a bigger board. I think the clock might be a little confusing where it is, especially because it's blocking Yakov Schneider's name. Can't take it out of the way. Then I'm sure it's going to block something else. Yeah, when I did this, I didn't account for such long names. Yakov Schneider isn't even that long. I don't know. It's tricky, because we want to fit all this info on the screen. I don't think we need the draw and resign buttons. I'm never going to resign anyway, and probably refuse draws in order to flag you. So I thought we could get rid of this. Might be a little cramped. I don't know. I have people who have a better eye for design looking into this, but for now I felt like doing something else. As for the game, I've expanded in the center, as I like to do. Knight f6 wasn't very good, and now we have a similar situation like in the last game, where I will create a pretty powerful pawn chain with pawns on f4, e5 and d5 that will take most of the oxygen out of the room. So Yakov Schneider is in a bit of trouble here. He's contemplating where to put the knight. I don't have any good advice. Knight g6, e5 looks very unpleasant, or even knight g6, f5. I could go f5, knight e5, and then f4. Knight g4 is a problem now after e5. The knights can't really stay connected. Therefore, he's losing a piece, and that should spell trouble as well. Actually, e5 might not have been the best move. Bishop b5 check looked pretty nasty too. But you can only play one move at a time, so I went with this one. Yeah, I'm not gonna brag too much. Should I win this game? But I'll brag a little bit. And it's not really a new board design, I just changed the colors on the board. You can all do that yourself. Go to settings and change it. I'm not sure I like it better. Or if I don't like it, I've put the clock somewhere else. I don't know. I'm not a designer. I was just getting bored. But let me know how to arrange stuff. I also have this. I've done this, but this looked even worse, I thought. So yeah, can't win. Maybe you can. Questions about the next opening clinic. I've recorded this Thailand opening clinic, which is not really an opening clinic. It's a summary of my opening play in the Thailand Open. And if I ever come around to writing a short article to accompany it, we'll publish it, and yeah, I guess I could do an opening clinic. I was gonna say next week, but there's stuff going on next week. We'll do one this month. Let's put it that way. Probably like in 2 weeks on Monday, but I have to check the schedule. And now that we have so many shows on Chess24, I have to choose my spots very carefully, or just randomly. Start a Banter Blitz, as I'm doing today. Here against Yakov, yeah, there's not so much to say about the game. He's in trouble, piece down, and not much to show for it. But such is life, especially with black, of course. It's sometimes very tricky to get all the pieces out if you're a bit new to the game. And yeah, he didn't really manage to stake a claim in the center, and that's caused troubles. PJK is liking this one. Thanks, PJ. Johan Schaft is wondering when the challenge will be accepted. I don't know, because believe it or not, I always have a lot of challenges. I normally play around 90 minutes, and I like to choose pretty randomly, giving slight preference to guys I've never played before. But yeah, I'm back on doing a lot of Banter Blitzes, so I'm sure I'll get the chance to play everybody sooner or later, but there's no guarantee I'm going to accept any challenge in any particular session. More questions. Did I see Spotlight? I did see Spotlight. I thought it was excellent. What's up with the series on the QGD repertoire? Yeah. I'm working on it, but there's always a lot of stuff to do, so I'm not sure when it's coming out. I have some opening problems to solve, frankly, before I'm there, but it's gonna come. It's gonna come. What else is going on? What do I think about the Trompovsky? Trompovsky is fine. I don't think it's great. After d4, knight f6, bishop g5, d5, I think black is fine. But certainly a playable opening. It's not like a trash sideline or anything. It's a totally playable opening. I've done it myself once in a while, and yeah, I'm not surprised that it turns up every now and then at the highest level too. It's fine, but yeah, I don't find it very scary. Whenever I say that, I lose a game in like 15 moves to the Trompovsky within minutes, but that's my general opinion. And yeah, as I already mentioned, I tend to choose pretty randomly, and I'm assuming everyone who challenged me wants to play me, so you don't have to ask me in the chat if I want to play you. I'm guessing that all the challengers want to play me. I could be wrong. How to checkmate here? I don't know. I just win on time. Yakov is nervous facing a Grandmaster. He's trying to play it tight, but time is running out. Sorry, Yakov Schneider. Thanks for the game. Who is the next? CH Conqueror. Swiss Conqueror? I thought Swiss were like the guys who weren't into conquering. Maybe CH doesn't stand for Switzerland. I'll find out. Let's check. It doesn't give a nationality, so I'm still not sure. 1e4, what can I do? The only line I'm good at really is e5. By good at, I mean whenever I play someone strong, I get crushed here. But I haven't really had time to study like a Sicilian deeply enough that I'm comfortable with it for everyday use or get back to my old Caro-Kann days. So we're stuck with e4, e5, and this is very trendy line at the moment, the Juco piano. Knight f1 is an old line, it's sort of equal. The trendy stuff is to play a4 at the earliest possible moment. That's what they're all doing at the highest level. But this knight f1 line is fine, it's very, very solid. And not particularly exciting, to be completely honest with you. But such is life. Not sure if life is such. All of this, I believe, is theory. And generally, yeah, you want to vacate the knight from e8 so you don't get pinned with bishop g5. Then put the queen on e6, play f6, put the knight on d6. And the position tends to be roughly equal, I guess is fair. Here queen c4 could be a move. I'm not sure if I've done this correctly. Hang on. You're giving me pawns, CH Conqueror? I really, really like pawns. It's a bit scary to take it, but if there's a free pawn at stake to take, then I will overcome all my fears and grab it. What could the Conqueror do? I don't see anything in particular. Rook d7 is very natural. But if I go Queen e6 back, can it be sustained there? Or do I have to be careful with Rook d5 stuff? We shall see. I was a little worried, once again, not unduly worried, but a little worried about Rook d5, let's say Bishop b6 and Knight g5. But after Queen g6, I could not really see anything. Well, Queen d1, isn't this asking for trouble? This Rook looks very short of squares to me. So I will interrupt this little connection the Queen and the Rook had going and hope to take it. If Knight takes d6, then this Queen takes d7 and I don't see anything. So probably Rook d6 is forced, but then just Knight takes d6 and I'm in exchange and a pawn up. Which should do, I would guess. Or am I missing any stuff? No, I really don't see it. Yep, here we go. Knight g5. Very important. This knight controls the forking e7 square. No pun intended. Here, yeah. This is just winning, even though, as usual, one has to handle with a bit of care, which I might or might not do. Go away, you're scaring me. Yeah, now everything is pretty much under control. So it's a matter of time, and by time I mean 27 seconds. How to convert this? Knight on f5 looks nice, but it needs some reinforcement. Here comes one in form of Her Majesty herself. But it's all too little too late. Sorry, CH Conqueror. Not enough firepower. Messing around a little bit, as I tend to when I'm too secure that I'm going to win on time. Shortly. Should I keep messing around? Yeah, why not? And CH Conqueror did lose on time. Thanks for the game. Let's play someone else. And yeah, I didn't do Banter Blitzes. I'm saying thanks for doing all these shows the last days. Yeah, I didn't do Banter Blitzes for a month. I was in Thailand. Then I was doing commentary on Norway chess, which I hope you watched with the great Peter Svidler. So I feel like I should get some in. And I am playing the very strong Sarad Salman. 24-43. Goes d4. I'll stick to my guns for now. And here comes the Trompovsky. Didn't he just ask me? Was he the guy who asked about it? Sneaky. He's asking my opinion to then spring it on me. And what did I say? I said, first of all, I'm jinxing myself, which I probably have, but I also said that I think this d5 is a decent line. ef6 is also fine, but I like gf6 and then go for a quick c5. Knight f3 is not the main move. Why isn't it? Not sure. They normally go dc5 or c4 in that position. And yeah, this looks kind of a little passive. I'm a bit tempted to already go for e5. I'm not sure because this is leaving some weaknesses in my pawn chain, so I'm not sure this was needed at this particular point. But it looked logical somehow. So I have the two bishops. I have a slightly broken pawn formation, but I don't mind my position. I'd actually take black here if I had to choose one side of the board. I guess objectively it's very close to equal. Knight b3, where to put this bishop. b6 looks logical, but somehow it looks tighter to put it back here and take it from there. I don't like knight b3 so much because I thought this knight should be supporting either e4 or c4 to create some play on the light squares, which is a lot harder to do now. I still haven't really decided if I want to castle kingside and put my king on h8, or if I want to leave the king in the center or castle queenside and put a rook on g8. Yeah, still don't know. Let's have some fun. Let's castle queenside. Would probably be more my style to castle kingside and put it here. I tend to shy away from opposite sides castles, but I had seen this one trick, a4, d4, and I banked all my hopes on it. Point is that I am attacking his knight on b3 and I'm threatening dc or de, while c4 does keep the knight. Of course, this has not been a very good sequence from white's point of view, I would say. How do I keep it going? I guess I'll grab some more space. Should go a5 or c5, probably c5, but my queen seems to have a nice square on b4. And yeah, we'll take it from there. Mildly concerned about a5, queen b4, a6, but reasonably mildly. And c5 of course doesn't work because of queen b3, which I had spotted earlier, but maybe I wouldn't have spotted it this time around. So a5, queen b4, a6 it is. I guess I'll go b6, but I'm not 100% sure because it's always unpleasant to live with this thingy in the flesh. Maybe I should just stay active and go e4 after a6. Choices. I don't think white has anything better to do because e4 is coming no matter what, so you might as well try to weaken my king a bit. But yeah, I like my position. I'll go a6, e4, a takes b7, king b8. This knight doesn't have a good square to go to, probably has to go back all the way to e1, which, yeah, is a bit passive. Knight c1 looks a bit passive as well, if you want my honest, unfiltered opinion. What's the idea? e4, rook a4. Don't care. If rook a4, I'll go queen d6, because queen c5, knight b3 seems to improve white's position. And after queen d6, I don't really see a good follow-up. c5, queen somewhere, d7 or whatnot. And it looks like white's initiative is running out of steam, if we can talk of an initiative here. The Dharma initiative. Quick thinking break. b4. Talk about burning the bridges. Doesn't look that scary. I'm a piece up and this attack is not really flowing. I'm quite active. Let's keep it simple, even though bishop f6 is very tempting too. Okay, the simplest is queen d4 check, which I'm playing mainly because I think it might force resignation. If it doesn't, then it's not the best move. No, it doesn't. Then it was a bit of a mistake. But, of course, it's still totally winning. Not a lot of hope left for Sarad Salman here, in my honest opinion. I like that whenever people say my honest opinion, it implies I'm normally lying, but this time I'm really being honest, so listen to me. So yeah, it's a strange phrase. But honestly, these two bishops will be too much to handle. And therefore, Sarad Salman resigns. Thanks for the game. And yeah, Queen D1 check was pretty good as well. I did spot that much. Let's play Zimba 7. Who's Zimba again? That's a Lion King character? I should know such stuff. Very annoyed about lack of pop culture knowledge. Is Zimba the Lion King? Let me know. And why the 7? Is it a 7-year-old Lion King? Well, lions get quite old, right? We're playing whatever. It can be Fianchetto, King's Indian. Can be Symmetrical Grunfeld, one of the most popular lines at top level. After c4, c6 or dc4. We are seeing this all over the place. dc4. I've seen a game recently. Grandelius lost to Elyanov in this line. I believe Elyanov did something clever, but I can't recall it. In the old days, they used to consider this move c3 to be smart here. B takes c3, followed by c5. c5 immediately, I'm not sure about. Looks natural as well, but after dc5, I might have an easier time getting to the c4 pawn than black getting to the c5 pawn. Or at least, if they both disappear, I'm hoping I'll end up with a bit of a lead in development. But that's just wishful thinking for now. Still gotta sort out one or two details on how to get it done. 94 looks like a good move. Could just take on c4 when we have... Yeah, not a symmetrical position, but very similar position where I'm still hoping that I have a bit of an initiative. But so far, Zimba 7 is playing very well, and I will not be claiming any great achievements here yet. Can I Google Zimba? No, I have too many windows open, it would mess stuff up. Or maybe here I can. Knight a6. Fair enough, but it looks like it's on the wrong track. You really want this knight on c6. b6 is certainly asking for cruel and unusual punishment. Nah, maybe it's not that bad actually. Pity. I was hoping bad things would happen to him on this long diagonal, but after 95 bishop b7, things aren't too bad unfortunately. The knights are a bit clumsy, and I'll jump around. But nothing special is coming out of all this. Knight c6, queen c7, and I can't see a win. No. Game is still in the balance. There's really no win after knight c6, queen c7. Anyway, no time to worry about it. Keep making moves. Rook c8 is a good move. I had some intention here, but it might not have been a very good intention. Also running low on time. Pressure! Why didn't I go rook d7? I panicked there. Zimba made me panic. Now I've bungled my once beautiful position. I really don't want to repeat moves. fast and strong. Don't we all hate it when that happens? Maybe we don't. Maybe it's just me. Trying to put a knight on c6. Might not be able to. This guy is really playing extremely well. Sorry, it's about the speed now. Not a good move. Might get checkmated here if I keep going like this. Yeah, it's very close actually. Jesus. That was very close. Excellent game by Zimba 7 and not my proudest day in the office. But yeah, he just played well. What to do? Did win on time in the end. Or yeah, in the end I'm good. But before, I don't think I was winning. So yeah, good game. Especially scary when I blundered this g5. Just as I said, I might get checkmated. I went e5 and after g5 all of a sudden my king is in real trouble. f5, g4, king h4 is checkmate. So since we had very little time left, and there might not be anything better, all I could think of is this, which gives my king the g5 square, but not really a winning attempt. So let's keep going. Another newbie here, Kaliliv. Kaliliv? Kaliliv? I don't know. Kaliliv might not be there. From the United Kingdom. Where are you at, Kaliliv? I'm gonna have to start the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And abort. Sorry. Not gonna be able to play you. Then next newbie, also from the UK, Jeveret. Jeveret the Reverend. No, that's probably not what he wants to be called. Jeveret 91. Let's see what he comes up with against the powerful move 1d4. And yeah, the usual shouting, play stronger people, play weaker people. I choose randomly from my list, and as I mentioned, I try to play new guys whenever I can. But it's hard to please everyone. And looks like all these UK guys are asleep. Jeveret not here either? Ah, there he is. I was just about to abort another one. We have a good old Queen's Gambit, traditional one. Here, there's a big choice between Bishop g5 or Bishop f4. I'm more of a Bishop f4 guy. After Bishop g5, both the main systems, this, whatever it's called, the Lasker and the Boleslavsky, I think that's what they're called. They both seem solid to me. Well, this bishop f4, castles e3, knight bd7. Yeah, I don't know how to get an edge either, but at least it feels like there's all the pieces on the board and there's more room. The theoretical discussions are normally around knight bd7, c5, but it's very, very hard to get anywhere with white, really. h6. Not sure what that's about. Doesn't look like a big priority here, so I'll play rook c1, which seems like a useful move, and see what the point is. He wants to go bishop d6 without allowing bishop g5, I guess. But yeah, it's a bit artificial. I don't know how to react though, I'm confused. Could go bishop g3 or knight to e5. Or take on d6. Not sure. Might not be ridiculous. It's a very strange idea, which, yeah, you don't see much, to put it mildly. Now c5. Any tempting options? I'll just take this guy, because after bishop takes c5, it looks like black has lost quite a bit of time getting his bishop there via e7, d6, and then c5. Well, bishop g3 wasn't too useful for me, but still looks like I've done more useful things. Now, takes, hang on. Nah, I'll just go knight c takes d5. And ed, yeah, this is not all that tempting positionally, but I can't see a way to keep my pawn, so I'll just get some pieces out. Bishop e2, probably short castles. And I'm a bit better, but I'm not sure I've gone for the maximum punishment available. Yeah, can't see anything better than this. Now I'm threatening knight e4. Had I done this immediately, he would have had queen b4 check. So it didn't seem to make so much sense. But now I thought it was an idea. It's not that much of a threat, to be totally honest. Actually, Jevver at 91 is playing extremely well. Knight f6, queen f6, and queen d5, b2 is hanging. So not sure I've achieved very much. I put the knight on c5. But I've been drifting a little bit the last couple moves, to be totally honest with you. b6 is fine. I'll pretend all my jumping around made a lot of sense to reshuffle this knight to d4. But really, you don't need 5 knights to control the d4 square. And it's usually quite useful to have one on c3 to attack the d5 pawn. It's like this guy who said it, Larson, I believe, is you don't have to blockade an isolated pawn 18,000 times. You should try to win it instead. And here I'm slightly better, but black has a very solid position, I believe. At the highest levels, such positions nowadays are held reasonably comfortably. But still, there is an isolated queen's pawn, and I'll certainly keep shuffling around. Maybe rook c5 instead of rook takes c1 was an idea. But this stuff is also extremely solid. So yeah, good showing by Jevver at 91 here so far. Not a very impressive performance by yours truly. Also not sure if this bishop belongs on f3 really. The thing is, normally you have the structure with a pawn on h2 here, and there it's quite typical to put it there and then try to expand. But with the bishop, with the pawn on g3, I'm not so sure what I'm doing. Then again, there's no real recipe for such a position. You just move back and forth and hope the moment comes where You can either attack this pawn or expand favorably. I'll probably reshuffle this bishop to b3 if I get a chance and see what happens there. Here we go. I believe all the squares on the c file are covered for now. But yeah, Jeverit91 is playing incredible chess for his 1700 rating on the site. I'll flag him though. If in doubt, I will flag him. But so far, he's probably played better than me, frankly. 96, what's the best chance here? Maybe to take. Nah, it's not that tempting either. I have to allow the exchange of knights, but that makes my advantage even more... I can't think of the right word. Inconceivable? No, I don't think that's the right word. Theoretical? Whatever. Running out of random maneuvers, so I'll just continue pushing my pawns up the board and hope anything good comes out of it, which frankly don't think is, if he just goes f6. King f6, it's a little more daring. Gonna set my eyes on some g5 tricks. Set my eyes? Set my sights? I don't know. d4? The endgame should be good for me though. Pawn up, even though now I'm the one with the isolated pawn, but still, this feels like progress. Pawn ending, really? Can you do that? I don't think you can do that, Jeverit. Going here to provoke f6, because if he goes f6, then he can never build a passed pawn with g6, h5, and therefore he shall be zugzwangt. Yeah, the rest is easy. And Jeverit resigns. Amazing game for a 1795 player. He played much stronger than that. But I managed to win the game in the end. Checking my list here. And let's play our loud friend from the chat, unknown Greek Grandmaster Pavantto. See what he's got. He also challenged 3 minutes, so I'm gonna have to keep the talking to a minimum, which is a pity. But yeah, this is probably not a great scenario for my 3000 rating to play strong Grandmasters in the Banter Blitz. But what can you do? Also not a great scenario for my 3000 rating is that he plays the King's Indian, where I never know what I'm doing. It's knight a6 line, rook e1, c6. You can go bishop e3 or bishop f1 here. I'll go bishop e3. I haven't looked at this for a while. I guess knight g4, bishop g5 is mainline theory. f6, and then you go somewhere. Queen c7. Oh yeah, there were some games like this, I guess. I don't really have a clue. I'll make moves. With this time control, it's hard to spend too much time on opening subtleties. So I'll just play h6 or f6 or knight h6. What do I know? Knight f6, maybe I'll think about c5. And by thinking about, I mean blitz it out and hope it's good. But yeah, not sure what he's gonna do. Knight h6, queen d2 looks a little awkward. So maybe it's e d4, knight d4, and queen b6 or some stuff. Really don't know. Here we go. Yeah. How does this work? No clue. Could take on g4. Yeah, I don't see anything better, so I will. Not sure if this is slightly better for white or nothing, or somewhere in between. We'll find out. e5. Whatever. I was thinking about rook b1, which might actually have been a good move, so I can meet knight c5 with b4. Not quite sure why I didn't do that, but I didn't. Now black has a solid position. I've been messing around a bit too much here. Not that I'm in trouble or anything, but I have not exploited the small initiative I had, and now his pieces are all fine. And I've actually missed queen b4, so I might be in trouble. The point is queen c4, knight d5, which I'm not sure is great, but at least I would have fork on e7 in the end. So now f3 and h3 is never the prettiest combination, but shouldn't be too bad here because there's limited pieces left on the board. Even though I haven't really thought through what I want to do after queen c4, which probably I should have. Yeah, that was just a blunder. So I'll just pretend nothing happened and I have massive compensation for the pawn. Queen a6, that's an odd square, but whatever. I do have a bit of compensation, but it's not really massive. It's not quite enough. So I have to think of ways to make it grow. f4 might not have been the way to accomplish that, because I'm weakening my e4 pawn. But I'm looking to make it a bit more messy. I'm just losing now. Way to make it more messy, Jan. Congratulations to me. So the flagging skills are all I have left. Will the flagging skills keep me in the game? I somewhat doubt it. Nah, now it's game over. I'm getting checkmated. Kudos to Pavantto, good game. And yeah, pretty bad game by me because I just blundered a pawn in one move. Where was that? Somewhere around here. Yeah, f3 was just totally ridiculous. But yeah, good game by him. Not a great game by me. Lousy flagging skills too. That's the main disappointment. There goes my beautiful 3000 rating. Now I'm gonna have to crush my way up to get it back, which is gonna be very tough. But whom do I start with? Maybe El Ajedrecista Leon. Let's see what El Ajedrecista has to do. It goes d4. I'm annoyed. Why did I blunder that pawn? And also later. There's so little time. I should maybe manage, but what to do? Sad to lose games. I don't like it much. This is an Imzo Indian. D5 is one of my main moves. Sometimes I play B6, which is a Vallejo specialty. But D5 I think is a pretty good line. And knight f3 is supposed to be a mistake here, because after D takes C4, there is really not an easy way to win the pawn back. Mamedyarov once did this against Carlsen, but yeah, he didn't show any special idea after it either. And while white can grab the center, go e4 and a4, it's really not a whole lot of compensation for the pawn. So knight f3 is not supposed to be a good choice. Instead, you should go a3 or c takes d5. Do GMs work a lot on tactics, or which area do they focus on? I don't know, I can't speak for all the GMs. I work a lot on openings and not on tactics at all, but there might be other cases who are a little more balanced. And I should be using more of the tactics trainer on chess24 and so on. But frankly, I don't know many GMs that... Well, some guys are doing tactics trainer and solving puzzles and so on, but I think it's the minority. Of course, whenever you play, even when you're playing a blitz game, you sort of work on tactics by trying to figure out what to do next move. And chess is a very tactical game. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not working that much on chess these days, because yeah, most of the stuff I do is sort of connected to chess24, be it doing commentary or game analysis or opening series or this Banter Blitz. So I don't do that much stuff for myself. But yeah, it's mainly openings. Then again, this is coming from a place of having played a lot and having reached a decent level without knowing any openings, and I also don't think it's necessarily correct. But yeah, that's what I've been doing, because I do enjoy my openings. Like this one, pawn up against El Ajedrecista Leon. E5, 94 or 95 both look fine. I'll go here. And yeah, people are asking for a rematch with Pavantto. I'm not gonna do it. No, I am upset I lost, but in general the point of these shows is also not so much to only play other Grandmasters, but to give every premium member a chance to play against Grandmaster, even if it's only me. So I'm sure I'll organize some other matches against GMs or YouTube celebrities or whatnot in the future if you want to see that. But in general, yeah, it's not my understanding of the show. And I think it's my show to, play against GMs all the time. Also, I hate to lose, and I would probably lose a bunch of games, which I also don't like. But seriously, now I'll work on having some other formats, and I also seriously hate to lose, but I'll work on having some other formats and organize some more of these matches. But in general, yeah, it's not really the idea. I've also maybe allowed El Ajedrecista a bit too much compensation here by getting in this f4 and f5. Maybe I should have taken on f5. I still think I'm all right, but not sure I've handled this properly. And I'm worried about his initiative growing. So it's time to offer a queen's exchange, I feel like. Still has a bit of initiative, but without queens it should be manageable. Bishop f3 is a mistake. You had to go bishop g4, keep this bishop on the board and try to put some pressure, because now my knight on d5 will dominate the whole board, controlling f6, looking at the c3 pawn and also preparing b4 to use my queenside majority. Rook f8 was actually maybe not the greatest idea I've ever had either. Not playing all that well in this game. However, my knight is so powerful I can get away with a lot of things if you compare it with his bishop. Now my king is covering the f7 square. I was thinking about rook f7 check, king e8, rook g7, no, not rook f8. But Yeah, it didn't look very scary. Well, now it's just lost because his knight on d5. It's too strong. As I said, it's just lost. He hits me with h4. But fortunately, I'm not losing a pawn because c3 is also hanging. And that should be a bigger factor. Still, might have claimed victory a little early here, as I tend to. But yeah, I don't see anything good. My king controls the h-pawn, and any tactical skirmish over here will be in my favor. So I don't think there's any way out for Mr. Atletista. a3. One thing I'm thinking about doing, but maybe I shouldn't do, is play a move like knight e2 and allow him to go d5, ed, e6 at some point, even though it doesn't really seem to work yet. So I could very much get away with this. But nah, I'll play it safe. Go king g6 so this pawn never advances. He's probably going to play bishop f8 or bishop d2. And knight d5 keeps the chain intact. Yeah, this should just be winning. Run! Too many enemy. Yay me. Who's next? Let's play our friend Rafaelo. FIDE master. Rafaelo. 2700. Incredibly strong in his own right, so better focus. Also, these strong players all challenge me to 3-minute games. It's so rude, gives me very little time to talk nonsense. Because I gotta focus a bit on the chess part. Even though so far the chess part is going pretty well. He's given me a pawn for nothing. He's blitzing out all these moves as if they make sense. Maybe they do, I have no idea. But I have a pawn. I've always struggled to see black's compensation in this line. I've been punished for it once or twice. But honestly, I don't think that's a playable line. And I've mentioned as much many times. Bishop g4, rook g5, but then bishop e6 check, right? Let's see where the party takes us. I guess he has to take and then go rook f7. But as mentioned, I have always struggled to understand why this is a good line for black. Not sure how to deploy my pieces. I guess knight d2, maybe bishop e3 works. Shouldn't gamble on that. Many tempting options, but I can't really make up my mind. I'll go with this one. It's a shame having to drop back my powerful queen. Sometimes you gotta take one step back to take 2 forward. No, that was 2 steps back actually, so I'm not sure that logic applies here. But couldn't think of anything smarter to say. Still, all kidding aside, I still like my position a lot because I'm a pawn up with the better position. I'm just thinking about the cruelest way to punish him for all his sins. Here bishop e7 and then bishop h4 bothered me a little bit. It doesn't bother me that much because I can just go rook g2, but it did bother me a little bit. It's a little bother. Knight f6, he's trying to fight his way through to Mr. f2. And yeah, king might not look so safe on the king side, on the queen side, sorry. But I still have a feeling it's reasonably safe over here. Because there's not that many attackers to bother him. Take a timeout, put it here, and then start thinking about pushing the d-pawn. Or whatever else comes to mind. Maybe I shouldn't have taken that timeout. Never take timeouts. What was that? That was a mouse slip. Drifting. I want to go to c4. Panic mode activated. Good thing is I'm still better, I think, but it's not going according to plan. But yeah, he still has some issues to solve. Like dealing with Delroy. Back there. I didn't see a good next move for black, so I thought a4 might be decent. Not so sure. No, I don't think I've done... Well, I've done the best I could, but the best I could wasn't very good. I've extracted the maximum from this position. Now my king is weak, and I gotta be very, very careful. Go away. Don't come too close. Doesn't really seem to want to go away. If I ask politely. Okay. Kindness always helps. He's fast. He's too fast for me. Nope, nothing I can do. Yeah, I guess I'll get a draw, but too fast, Mr. Rafaelo. Yeah, since I'm a big flagger, I can't even complain. But that was sad because I've been winning most of the game and I was up on the clock. No, things aren't going well today. It's my sad face right over here. What to do? I wish I could blame him for his unsporting flagging operations, but anyone who's ever seen the show, seen me flag people left and right, probably won't believe me. I can be mad at myself for my tremendous slowness. No, I'm not that slow. I'm normally reasonably fast, but against a trained bullet player flagger, I do have my issues. But really, I should have finished that game way before, since I was winning all the way. That was sad. Griffidors says, "Hi Jan, hi Griffidors. You caught me steaming, losing all my rating. Look at this, 2975. So this is your moment, Griffidor. He's happy to play me. Let's change that sentiment as quickly as possible. Let's take with the knight. For my repertoire series, I'm probably going with ED5, even though I'll be honest, that game, Carlsen Kramnik, caused some repertoire problems over here in my little office. So there's some stuff to work out over there. But knight d5 is not a bad move. Kramnik himself plays it quite a bit. The so-called semi-tarash. Here the main move is e4, knight c3, you take on d4, you go bishop b4 check, and all that stuff. Knight d5 looks solid, but not particularly scary. Which maybe it's not its intention to be scary, maybe it just wants to be solid. dc5, queen d1. Yeah, the position is equalish. I guess I can pretend the king on d1 is not perfectly placed, but it can't be too bad. Queen b3. Really eager to get rid of pieces, Mr. Griffor. All right. Your wish is my command. That doesn't make any sense. Pepe is claiming I had a burnout. No one told me about it. I feel like I'm having burnout today, getting crushed left and right here. Very, very upsetting. Let's see if Griffor can add to. I was gonna say something smart, but then the burnout kicked in. So I couldn't even finish the sentence. Add to my pain. Nah, I'm not that pained. Is that a word? Don't know. Go away. I guess I'm not sure if I'm slightly better. I guess it's equal. f5 weakened the e5 square as well, but I really want to go for this b6 move so I can bring my bishop out to a6. A-sab Rocky. But it's nothing special. Rook d1, now I'm going to go rook d8. Something like takes and bishop d2. The one thing I got, rook e1. Okay, also possible. I was going to say the one thing I got going for my position is these guys are a little locked up. But I'm not sure how big a problem that is, really. Knight e5 is a good move. Yeah, might just be nothing. Sad. I wish it was a little something. Just a little something to work with. Not asking for much here. He wants to jump around too. Don't we all like to jump around? I don't think I do. Bishop d2 doesn't work. That's the good news, because if bishop takes c4, bishop takes b4, bishop takes b4, and the rook on e1 is under attack. So, I'm not sure. I have a feeling this knight c4 was a misstep, and the knight belongs to e5. Should probably go back there. That's a hard thing to do, to admit my last move might not have been good. I'll just go back to where I came from. It's a big, big skill to master in chess, in my opinion, which I certainly haven't mastered, but I honestly think that. Because now, king f1, you're just making things worse by keeping your knight in the line of fire. And here, yeah, it's gonna get into trouble soon. Still steaming from both of these earlier games. Steaming big time. And Griffor resigns. Maybe a little early, but a takes b3 was very hard to stop. Yeah, I thought here it's really not that much going on. It's a little hard to develop the pieces. Maybe you think about e4. But knight c4 felt wrong, and here it's probably best to admit it's wrong and go back. It's unpleasant, but not the end yet. Speaking of not the end yet, what time is it? Still some time. 2 games probably. Whom do I play? Butro Salvaje. That sounds like a fan of Pepe Cuenca. He's I'm not sure if he's coined the term Butro, but I've certainly heard him use it a lot. I still don't know what it means. Like, he has weird words for all the pieces. I guess Butro is a bishop, but I'm not 100% sure. Being asked if I prefer 3 or 5 minutes, I guess I slightly prefer 5 because it gives me more time to talk trash. Then again, you can get in more games with 3, just, yeah, as you've seen. If I play against a good player and you play a 3-minute game, it's very hard to get any talking in. So, yeah, I think I prefer 5 normally. Castles. Good old Berlin, really pulling out all the sexy openings here. The problem with the Berlin against lower rated players is mainly the move rook e1, when you have to go knight d6, and this position is hard to win. While the endgame, I know a lot of strong players who are quite happy to enter this playing it for a win, because it really is a very unbalanced situation. Black has the 2 bishops, while White has the pawn majority on the king side. Black's king has to decide where he wants to go, be it e8 or c8. So there's a lot of tough decisions to be taken here. I'm sort of improvising with the stuff I'm doing, but normally you can do a lot in the Berlin. One rule of thumb is if your king goes to c8, you more often than not need to play h6 to stop knight g5 and sometimes to secure the e6 square for your bishop. While if your king goes to e8, you're typically focused on going h5 to stop white from expanding too quickly on whatever that side of the board is called, the king side. So I have no real idea what I'm doing. I've never studied theory in the Berlin, but I've looked at it enough to have a bit of a grasp to where to put the pieces. Not much of it though. A3 sort of ends the strategic battle and the game transitions to the let's grab pieces battle, which is a pity because it was an interesting position. And A3 shows good understanding because if the bishop goes somewhere, I'm probably going to go bishop b4. You're normally happy to exchange this bishop even for the knight, the dark square bishop, and then go c5, put the other on e6. But as it often happens, chess, concrete game and all that, all the deep understanding doesn't help if I can take your pieces. And Yoon is saying I should ignore his questions, which I still do. PJK says I don't see every question, which is also true. I'm not reading the chat full time. I'm just glancing over there once in a while. But yeah, looks like we can accommodate everybody. Speaking of accommodating everybody, I'm not sure if this gentleman Alekinin, he might have mentioned once or twice in the chat that I should play him. I'm not 100% sure. Might have confused him for someone. And it looks like it's our 3rd encounter. So let's see what our boy Alekinin is up to. If he's not there though, I gotta warn you. After the years of mentioning 8,000 times per show, play me, play me, play me, then when I do play you, should really be that Alekinin. You're letting me down. But I have to do the same thing I would always do. Start the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Abort. So sorry, Mr. Alekinin. I don't want to hear any complaining ever again about not getting picked. You weren't there. Let's find someone else. Scrap 111 seems to be a new guy. Yoon repeats his question. Didn't you just say I should ignore your questions because you're not a premium member? I think it was about improving at chess. Become a premium member. You get access to lots of great learning material, much better engine. You can play in all these Banter Blitzes. You can solve unlimited tactics puzzles and all the good stuff. Also, you're supporting me so I can buy nicer shirts than this one. Not true, I'm not making money if you become a premium member, but Chess24 keeps being around and hopefully growing so we can improve the site. And I also do think it really is a bargain. End of marketing speech. Let's crush Scrap 111. First, give me that pawn. You can, half marketing speech. If you want to know more about this position, you can watch my critically acclaimed by myself mainly, series on the Catalan where I talk a lot about this. Problem practically is bishop g5 is a bit boring here. Bishop d2 is the main move at the highest level, and it's very interesting after bishop e4. Let's see what Scrap is up to. Goes bishop f4. That's also a legal move. I forgot all about it. I'm sure I've covered it in great detail in my series. Guess you're supposed to. Oh man, I think you're supposed to go knight c6. See, that's how well I remember my stuff. I think knight c6 is the move there. Yeah, that's a little embarrassing. But knight d5, how bad can it be? It does defend the pawn and hints at taking the bishop. So I shall not resign just yet. But the theoretically correct move is knight c6, attacking d4 and preparing a very quick knight b4 and then c5. Which I would know if I watched my own series more often. Knight e5. Scrap really keeping his foot on the gas here, trying to exploit my miscrap. I'll fearlessly keep jumping around. Knight f4, bishop b7 didn't look that appealing. I overuse that word. Like whenever I learn a new word, I'll use it all the time. Like now I've learned narrative, which seems to have become the main word everybody's using. Every podcast I listen to, you hear narrative mentioned 500 times. Not literally, but a lot. Every tweet I read, it's narrative. Whatever, the narrative changed because of this and that. So I'm gonna stick with that one. And appealing, I believe, is also one of those. a3 doesn't really appeal to me. I'll take here and see what happens. In general, I think I'm fine now. But of course, the game has only just begun. I'm threatening a check. So you better check yourself. Yeah, I think I'm fine. Rook d1 is an alright move. But I shall give my check and, as usual, be greedy. Gimme, gimme, gimme. The rest is a matter of technique, as they say in the old books, and I never understood it. I mentioned this before when I asked Artur Yusupov about what this meant. He said there is a thing as technique, but the main thing is really attitude, to just be even more focused to get the game over with. Because a lot of people, myself included, start drifting a little bit. When you know it's not more or less winning, if nothing too crazy happens, then it's hard to keep thinking about good moves, and you can start thinking about, oh, I really want to simplify because I'm a pawn up. Let's get rid of all the pieces, then hope to win the endgame, and you start making concessions, or you start playing for tricks because you don't have the patience to end the game. All things I've done plenty, so do as I say, not as I do. Or is it the other way around? I don't know, it's one of the two. e4 I could grab, but f4 looks much more appealing, to use a new word, positionally. If he takes queen f4, I will have some threats on the dark squares. Well, if he doesn't, this battery remains very much alive. Now after knight e2, f3 is also tempting, but this might be as good a time as any to grab more pawns. The more pawns you have, the less your opponent has, I was going to say, but I don't think there's a direct correlation. Like you can have 8 and your opponent is also has 8, so that's not really true. The more pawns you capture, the less queens he can get. I believe that is correct. And also 2 pawns are 2 pawns. So I'm still kind of winning, but what did I just say about technique? I forgot, but I should recapture without blundering my queen. Pre-move. And yeah, people like Robin's series, and I certainly hope that will continue soon. I'm a big fan of Robin's opening work as well. The guy's kind of good. I've mentioned this before, I hate giving him credit. Not really sure I hate giving him credit. Oh, I hate when the board disappears. See, bad things could have happened. Let my rook go on d1. Here, many moves win, but I don't think there's any reason to get overly fancy with rook d2, queen c5, rook e2, because the only way to lose such a position 2 pawns up is really to get checkmated in a desperate counterattack. Not sure I'm contradicting what I said earlier, but since I don't remember, we will never find out. No, what I was talking about is earlier I said you shouldn't exchange for the sake of exchanging when you're material up. But if it's the safest way to a full point where you just don't allow any counter chances, there's also nothing particularly wrong with it. And Scrap 111 resigns because 3 pawns are 3 pawns. Alright, last game of the day. Whom do I play? I'll find another new guy. If we have a newbie, this is your chance, newbie. Because I will click on you. Should you be in the list? Why not why? I'll even go e4. Haven't played e4 today yet. Should have played e4. Yeah, the dragon, I've actually been working on a video series on it a while ago. Problem is I get very frustrating with the dragon. If I look into it in depth, it just doesn't seem like such a good opening to me. And if I do a repertoire series, believe it or not, like at least I want to believe in what I'm selling. And I don't really believe in the dragon. I'll still play it sometimes, and I don't think it's horrible, but it has a much cooler reputation than the positions you're actually getting if you look at it closely. So I don't think that's going to happen unless there's some magic revelation that makes me feel good about the dragon again. In this game against white, we have a structure that is debated a lot in these crazy times of ours. You can get it through all kinds of different openings. We get it through a Sicilian with 3 bishop b5. Black has these double pawns. Normally black has a bishop pair to compensate for it. Well, white doesn't, so I should be a little better. But, of course, black has a very solid setup, and it's by no means easy to crack, especially if you don't know what you're doing, which I really don't in the structure. I'm a d4 player, so I almost never have this e4, d3 stuff on the board, but still, yeah, does feel like it's a little nicer for white. But my reflexes aren't so good when it comes to where to put the pawns. Is this a position where you go a3, b4, or is it a position where you go a4, just making b5 a little harder? That kind of thing. But still, white is slightly better here, and I'm not gonna complain too much yet. Goes b5. Which is very understandable since knight c4 was coming, but b5 is also a little committal sometimes. I still don't have a plan, so I'll put this rook on d1, which, once again, smart people might argue because somewhere down the stretch this rook could be useful to help me preparing f4. I could have gone bishop g3 just to play f4 next move, for example. So I'm not sure, but rook d1, especially since he played b5, my rook on the a file has plenty of work now. Even stops rook d8 because I need to take on a7. Rook d1 seemed like useful prophylaxis against any potential breakthroughs. Well, I do have the better structure if I just keep you all in check. The general problem for black is this knight. You want to regroup it to d7, f8, e6, d4. And I shall do the same dance and hopefully get there first. Not sure where there is, but get somewhere first. g6 stops knight f5, but I'm flexible, not mentally or physically, but my knight is. Knight g4, takes h6, and also might want to jump here. Of course, you can stop both with g5, but g5 is not a pretty move to make. Bishop g3, and then one day this knight could make his triumphant return to the f5 square, where it can no longer be questioned. There he goes. The horsey is about to land. And there's the usual logic whenever I say that opening isn't that great. People will say, but Carlsen played it, but Morozovich played it. Does Carlsen play the dragon regularly these days? I don't think he does. But of course, I don't want to talk anybody out of the dragon at all. It's an exciting opening. I just personally don't think it's that good. And that's not because I'm a hater. I've tried to make it work. I couldn't, but maybe someone else can. How do I crush why though? That should be my main concern. Why is this game still going? I'm also screwing around a little bit. For example, now he has h5, queen g5, and rook g6. I already have to do miracles like queen to e7, so I'm not 100% sure. I have a feeling this might be as good a time as any to go AB. Just get this rook going on the open file. To hope it's useful someday. Rook g5 is possible. I don't have any immediate win or anything, but if the queen just goes back to f3, his position looks pretty desperate positionally. And rook a6 is still on the agenda. Well, if hg, there's no immediate breakthrough either, but it just feels like this knight on f5 is so powerful. Something bad should happen. Still, good game by White. He's hanging in there, doesn't allow me any material gains, which I would like to have. Might have to take that back. Just as I praise you, why? You give me stuff. Which, as I said, I do like that. But now, they're all gone. It's like Stark siblings. No, there's actually a lot of Stark siblings still around. Pepe keeps arguing for the dragon. Yeah, you're very entitled to your opinion. I'm not changing mine either, and I have studied it quite a bit. I'm not sure why he's thinking, because rook is a rook. And that wraps it up for today. Very sad show for me. I lost my hard-earned, not really hard-earned, hanging around earned 3,000 rating. And I'm gonna have to get it back. Will I ever get it back? I don't know. So many intriguing storylines for the sequel. I'm sure we'll do more of these soon. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna disappear, shrink, and then be out of here. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.